Hey everybody, welcome to Cheap Comic Collector. My name's Rob, and this is episode number 241. Hope everybody had a chance to check out yesterday's claim sale on the live stream. But if you didn't, you can watch the replay. You can still go ahead and claim books. Just watch it, and if there's a books that didn't get claimed that you're interested in, just throw me an email, let me know, and they're usually still available. I usually get a few claims in after. So if that works better for you, then by all means, feel free to drop me an email anytime. Today we're doing a What Am I Reading episode. So we're going to do Porky Pig, Doc Samson, and a Donald Duck. And we'll start off with Donald Duck. This is number 200 according to the sticker that somebody put on there. And it's an old 35 center. It's got the Happy Birthday Mickey logo on it that they put on the magazines back then during Mickey's 50th birthday celebration. This one's from 1978. And cover's kind of cool. Nice, simple little gag, but funny with the octopus grabbing Donald's lunch and pouring himself a cup of coffee out of the thermos there. That's pretty neat. And the first story is called The Money Muddle. And these are not Carl Barks stories, but it deals with some of the themes that Carl Barks touched on. And so it was kind of interesting. Uncle Scrooge is worried about how his nephews are going to treat his money once he dies and they inherit. And so he sets it up for them to find a treasure chest full of gold doubloons, and they figure they each get about $500. And so they go ahead and invest it in various ways. The nephews back an old prospector who supposedly found an old gold mine, and Donald buys a boat, and Uncle Scrooge finds out and inspects the gold mine and thinks it's a dud that they got taken, so he's not happy about that. And then Donald sank his boat and didn't have any insurance, so he's not happy about that. But then the prospector shows up, and turns out that the gold mine is real. Uncle Scrooge was just examining an old ore cart. And so the nephews lend Donald the money to raise his fishing boat, and but they basically said they don't want to inherit Uncle Scrooge's money because they'd spend all their time just worrying about money. So and that was the end of the story. It was a cute little story. And the next story is a little bit different just because Donald ends up being a hero in this one. So that's rare, but it does happen. And let's see, these were reprints from Donald Duck number 79. So in this one, he's a mummy guard, which he has been in the past, or not a mummy guard, but a guard at a museum. In this case, he happens to be guarding a sarcophagus, and these crooks are planning to steal it, and Donald ends up getting wrapped in paper and in the mummy case, so everybody thinks he's a real mummy. And we interrupt this review to bring you CBS Saturday Mornings, all new Popeye Hour, Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show, The Super 7, Space Academy, Fat Albert, and Arc 2. I remember Arc 2. I watched that a little bit. It wasn't interesting enough for me, but I do remember watching an occasional episode. So anyway, the crooks load Donald inside the sarcophagus inside a truck, and then he scares them later, and they get tangled up, and so he's basically captured them and saved the day. So, and then there's a Bad Wolf, Three Little Pigs text story, also from Donald Duck 79. So this basically just is all a reprint of Donald Duck number 79. And then the last story, The Mysterious Pyramid, was pretty silly. There's a professor at the City Museum that hires Donald to slide down a banister because he sees him sliding down the museum banister. It's a secret obsession with Donald. So he takes him to a pyramid in South America where he can slide down this banister on the pyramid because it's the only banister they've ever found on a pyramid, and they don't understand what it's for. And so there's some tomb robbers looking for treasure in the pyramid, and they get tangled up with them, and it ends with Gladstone and Daisy thinking that Donald is sunburned on his rear end when he's actually just burned from sliding down the banister. And that was it. So I don't know, it was a fun little issue, but nothing really remarkable about it. The cover is actually my favorite part with the octopus. It's a cool octopus. Then we have the Doc Samson miniseries from Marvel. This is a 4-issue series, and it came out in 1996. Might be 98. I found my little magnifying glass again. 96. Okay, I was right the first time. And never really been that big of a fan of Doc Samson. Never really, he was just kind of a supporting character that I didn't know a lot about. This one's written by Dan Slott, pencilers by Ken Lashley, inks by Tom Wegrzyn, Wegrzyn. So, however you pronounce that, with an assist by Art Nichols. And I like how they did the credits, where each credit is on a piece of paper being blown away on there. That's I always like when they do creative credits like that. It's just a little artistic touch that I think is cool. And so this is kind of typical 90s artwork. It's all kind of done in that 90s style, and it's not bad. It's just back then it seemed like all the comics looked the same. That's when all the comics started looking the same, with everybody kind of trying to look like the Image guys. And he did draw a nice She-Hulk there, though. And so anyway, Doc Samson has to be coerced into helping the New York City with a case. So we got an appearance by Hulk, Polaris, and She-Hulk, as well as Doc Samson in here. And there's a serial killer who is some kind of gamma irradiated individual, so they're trying to track down and figure out who it is. And that's pretty much the basis of the whole story. Not a lot to it. I did enjoy the first issue more than I thought I would. But it kind of went downhill from there. And the second issue's got a nice She-Hulk cover, with her drawn a little bit differently. And Dan Slott's still the writer, but the penciler is now Ken Lashley and Steve Geiger, and Roberto Flores are the pencilers, with James Mendoza, Robert Hedden, and Dan Panosian as the inkers. So, group effort, but this is typical of the 90s where, like, you don't notice an art change throughout the issue, even though you got 3 different teams working on it. Because everybody's drawing the same, you don't notice that there's a difference. And you don't notice a difference that the first issue had a completely different penciler as well. So, I don't know. I think that's a lot of why I don't like the 90s art very much. Some of the stories were fine, but a lot of the art was just... It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just there was too much of it. It's with everybody looking the same. But anyway, they track down the serial killer. There's another character that gets introduced. Her name's Geiger, and she kind of becomes a sidekick to Samson a little bit. There she is. And so it turns out that the serial killer can actually drain their powers. So She-Hulk ends up in the hospital. Meanwhile, Doc Samson thinks he killed the Punisher in some previous storyline issue somewhere. And so he's having regrets over that. And again, third issue, Dan Slott's the writer, but the script is now being written by Evan Skolnick. Pencils by Roberto Flores and Andrew Wildman. Brad Venkata and Ralph Cabrera are the inkers. So, yeah, but again, it still looks the same pretty much. A little bit different with the eyes. But, it's not a bad story. It's just, and they decided to call the serial killer Patchwork. And what happens is when you're gamma radiated, it brings your innermost fears and desires and things to the surface, right? So this is actually a very mild-mannered person who's been, but because he's been, gone through the gamma ray stuff, then he's this monster that he doesn't want to be. So he's actually trying to kill himself at some point here. Punisher shows up, so he learns that Doc Samson figures out that he didn't kill him, and I don't know, this story, I mean, you could follow the story, but it wasn't really, seems like it just wasn't, maybe it just wasn't much of a story, I mean, they in the 90s, they were printing stuff just to print it because everybody was buying first issues. So they came out with all these miniseries so everybody'd buy the first issues. And there's not really any reason for this to be a miniseries about Doc Samson. It seems like it could have just been a subplot in a regular Hulk ongoing storyline or something. But anyway, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's just kind of run of the mill. It's okay. So this is the fourth issue, the last issue, and everything gets resolved. Doc Samson gets this crappy new costume, and that's pretty much the end of it. But it was okay. Just nothing special about it, in my opinion. And then lastly and leastly, we have Porky Pig and Bugs Bunny. So this one is from 1974, issue number 56 of Porky Pig. Unfortunately, this issue is incomplete. It's missing the centerfold, so I couldn't read the whole issue. But you start off with Porky Pig when Bugs Bunny in Warranty and Peace. And basically, Porky Pig's television set is busted. But in order to take advantage of the warranty, he has to return it to Tokyo. And so he's ticked it off enough where he actually travels to Tokyo. So we have a little bit of racial stereotyping going on in this one. He's in Tokyo. And he's trying to return his TV set. And to the Takashimada Television Company. And then he does get a new TV. He helps catch a crook, and so the owner of the company rewards him with a brand new TV. It will work. He gets it all the way back home to America, and it's there, but but everybody speaks Chinese. Or, not Chinese. Tokyo's in Japan. Japanese. I'm old. Can't even remember where things are. And then the next one is Porky Pig Misfortune Teller. And there's a fortune teller who tries to make his fortunes come true, so that Porky Pig doesn't make him lose customers. And unfortunately, that's where the centerfold ends, so I didn't get to see the end of it. And I didn't get to see the beginning of the next story, which has Porky Pig and Bugs Bunny accidentally in space. They traveled to another planet. I think it was Venus. Yeah, Venus. And the aliens there are stick them in a stew pot, but they're really just giving them a bath. And then they come back home. And so unfortunately, like I said, that one was incomplete. So if anybody has this issue and it's like missing the cover or something, or you want to get rid of it, let me know. I only need the centerfold, or if you have the complete coverless copy, I'll be happy to send you the cover, whichever way that works out for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. And pretty much that's it. See you next time.